Hi, you're listening to the Stories from Africa podcast hosted by Lawrence Magaya. This is a series titled Breaking Jemima, and you're listening to episode 4 titled Sex, Fight and Flight. The events herein happened, so this is a true story. Keep listening.
Now, I decided now because these people they no longer need me, and then I think God with His own mighty way made me realize all this was a sham. And then I decided, even if God, you have given me this gift, I don't want it anymore, because these are 4 years I've been living. Remember, I told you how we were living. Akuna, you don't take sugar. We were forbidden so many things. Oh, I remember. We never even used to say hi, shake hands. No, you don't shake hands because you are sanctified, you are clean, so you don't shake hands. That was among the many rules that we had there.
Can I ask what church this was, though?
We didn't even have, I can't tell you they had the name of the church. All I know is that kanisa ilikuwa ya kiroho. And it's this lady who had the church. See, kanisa hata iko registered.
So, yeah, you're saying this lady?
This lady, that was her church. And like I was telling you, them days we used to believe in prophecy. We never used to argue. So whatever the prophet tells you, you go about it. And I thank God for those 4 years I lived there. Nothing other than the work they made me do. It's not, nowadays I see what the men of cloth they are doing, and I'm like, I thank God that during my time it's only that slavery. I also remember in that church there was no throwing of food. Okay, what I mean by even me today, I don't believe in throwing food. But to them, remember I told you they used to have a special diet. The man and the high priest and 2 or 3 people she will choose. Those who were told that these ones hawajaanguka, hawajafanya makosa. Me being in the kitchen, it's because now remember I have that dark angel hanging around me. Nimekosa, so the Holy Spirit is not in me. That is why I'm being punished that I'm in the kitchen and running other chores. Like washing clothes, nawafulia wote. Mimi nilikuwa nawafulia wa baba, na wa mama, nawafulia na niwapikie, nioshe, nifue hivyo. Now, this special diet, alikuwa nakula, si watapika bananas, kuna siku watapika bananas, another day rice. So they had, people started coming to that church, so many. And then a prophecy came that they should be taking soda after eating. This, we are talking about 1990s. So soda to me, there's soda.
So I want to understand, how would a prophecy come that these people are supposed to take soda?
A certain lady said the Holy Spirit has told her that because they are working, because they're the ones who are praying for the sick, praying for people who have misfortunes and all that. So when they eat, they're supposed to take soda. They're the same people who are eating special diet. Now me, I was not supposed to cook for the innocent, the holy Joes. Me, I'm cooking for
everyone else.
Everyone else. As we were like, let's say 20 or 25, depending on the day. But the pastor and the priest and the other prophets, they had a girl whom they had chosen who would cook for them. So in the morning when we are making tea, this tea, remember, it's for all these people, like let's say 15 people. Them, they are not taking tea. They're being made this pure porridge. It is, they buy what do you call them? They buy whatever, the millet, the salt, they mix together. They are having a special diet. So they take porridge and they would look at that porridge and I'm admiring. Don't forget I'm still a kiddo. So I'm like, wow, they're taking porridge. And then there's this black beans in Jahe. So on Monday, she'll say she's supposed to eat njahe, mukimo ya njahe. And stew, itengenezwe stew. Lakini remember, we are not eating meat unless there is a sacrifice that has been made. We don't eat meat every day.
Wait a minute. You said a sacrifice.
Yeah, when they slaughter, there's always these sacrifices that were made according to the law of Moses. Kuna hiyo mbuzi sijui ya nini.
Wait a minute.
Hizi mbuzi zikichinjwa, ndio saizi utaona kanyama mahali kakipitia.
So this place you were in, they were still offering sacrifices.
Yeah, they were, because we were following the law of Moses. That is why when a lady, she's on her cycle, you don't mix. Everything about Moses, blah, 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 blah. The only thing that I didn't hear where Moses said, don't eat salt, don't take sugar. I didn't hear. So these ones are her own rules that she had set aside. So the prophecy came because they are working, they should be taking soda. Remember I'm a kid, so kuna vile soda iko vile. This food, the food was a lot. There was a lot of food because the people who were coming, they were coming from Nyeri, Nyanyuki. So like potatoes, there were so many potatoes, carrots, cabbages, all those. They made porridge. They couldn't finish. They have made black beans and rice. They haven't finished. They cook food at 4. The lady was supposed to eat 4 times per day. So the food that was supposed to be lunchtime, she will not take it at 4. At 4, they make something else for her. And then there's also dinner before she goes to her house. Do you know what they used to do? When the food stays stale like 5 or 6 days, they bring it and they tell me, God have said, I'm the one who is supposed to eat that food.
That's another prophecy. Oh, how does that even work?
Because they don't throw food. And this is the food for the priest. So it's special food. And to me, when they tell me I'm supposed to eat this food, I'm looking at this food, maybe let's say it's the food from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Let's say that way. So I'm imagining they have said I'm supposed to eat this food. Nisitupe. So you know what I used to do? God is very mighty. Hiyo jiko ya makaa, I would remove all the charcoal and then I put the sufuria with that food, all the mixture. So ilikuwa maragwe, ikaekwa black beans, ikaekwa ndizi, ikaekwa ni mchanganyiko maalum. Inajivuruta, yani the food inajivuruta kama
sticky.
It's very sticky. It has this smell, but I've been told not to throw. I'm looking at it, I'm like, if I eat it, will I die? So I will put it on top of makaa, na bakisha makaa moja, naekelea hiyo sufuria nafunikia. Hiyo chakula naipika, naigeuza, na inanuka kabisa, inanuka kabisa. Naikausha kabisa, inakuwa ngumu. Nakula kama venye mtu anakulanga.
So how did you learn to do that?
I don't know. I don't even know who told me to do that. But I remember saying this food, because imeko kwa sufuria, imeletwa. Nikaambiwa mimi ndo nimeambiwa nikule hiyo chakula. Haya, sasa mi nikashindwa hii chakula ndakulaje. Akili tu ikaniambia toa makaa zote, because we were using jiko. Toa makaa, ubakishe makaa moja, uwekele hiyo sufuria hapo, hiyo chakula ikuwe ngumu. Niliipika, like kuipika kabisa ikakuwa ngumu kabisa. Venye mtu kula crunchy food, like crisps, something like that. That is how and I took like an hour. Nauma 1 spoon kabla nimeze hiyo chakula.
So all of it has to go into your system.
Yes, I have to finish it. So I think either they were trying to do something, but God is very amazing. And that is why you're told, don't plan something thinking it's going to backfire on that person. Because funny enough, me, I was like, I've eaten this food. So by the time morning comes, me, I'll be dead. Because I know you don't eat. Ilikuwa na mold. Unajua, ilikuwa mpaka imemelea mold. Nilikuwa nimesahau kukwambia hiyo. Actually, ilikuwa ya color green. Sasa ni mwenye anapikanga na ananiambia, palikuwa na mchele. And she's very proud to tell me, pako na kamchele na kuna hizo njahe na mandizi sijui na nini. Ni mchanganyiko maalum. Mi asubuhi nilisikia the birds zikiimba. I'm like, aya, kwani I didn't die? Kwani am I alive? Ama niko heaven, you know? I'm like, hey, I didn't eat. That was the first time. So it became a norm. Hiyo chakula ikiekwa naletewa. Hiyo chakula ikiekwa na ikakuwa benye nilikula, nothing happened to me. Wakadecide hivyo. Uji ikaanza, uji wakipika, wakieka maziwa iharibike. Unajua kuna maziwa anaweza eka something happens, ama unajua uji ni sensitive. Kuna venye hata ufai, when you're taking porridge, you're not supposed to use the spoon. Hiyo yenye imeharibika ni mimi nitakunywa. But remember the other days they don't give me. So me and the other people, we don't. And to me, I'm like, don't ask me why I agree to that, because I don't know why.
But was it just you, or was it given
It
also
is
to the
me.
other?
No, it was specifically me. Because you see, I'm the one who is in the kitchen. And this other girl. So she'll tell the lady, ile chakula tulipika saa 7 na saa 8, anasema hata kula. Alikuwa sasa ameanza kuringa. Pesa imeanza kukuja, chakula imeanza kukuja. So wako zile za, atauma hata vijiko 2 za ndizi, aseme, alafu ndizi atasema, hii ndizi, hii si ile nilikuwa nataka. So atauma 2. Na unaona ameuma, haiwezi tupwa. Now, a day came, I was told, I've been given another special assignment. I don't know whether I should say this. This special assignment, I was called and told that when she misses herself during her cycle, hizo nguo ni mimi nitakuwa nafua. Yeah.
So you were so unclean that you're supposed to touch her uncleanliness.
Yes. So aki mess tu zinawekwa naletewa.
Can I ask a question? So you guys were not using pads, or she was not using pads,
No,
or
that
how was
time
that?
even today the mess is normal because that time is when people were using cotton wool. So at the long way at our mess too. Unaona, remember hayuko supposed kukuja aingene na wale watu wengine according to the law, lakini yeye ilikuwa imesemekana she's special, yeye ni she's the owner of the church, she's a pastor, so yeye anaweza kuja. So lakini atakuja afanye zile huduma za kawaida, atakuja akae kidogo atoke. So akimes zilikuwa zinawekwa kwa kando tutundo tubucket tudogo naletewa kama za siku 5 nizisoak nizifue acha nicheke. And me, I'm like, ni Mungu amesema. God have said, so I can't say no. Those are some of the things I've remembered to tell you. Now remember, I had told you we got to Libiwa, nini. Yeah. We go back now. I want to go back to school. So amenifukuza. So I think I started to remember those things that nikaanza kukumbuka, these people, they were doing this hata kama Mungu unanichukia. I remember I used to tell God, I know you hate me. One day I looked up and I told him, I never said I wanted to be created. But because you hate me, do me a favor. Why are you keeping me alive? So you just take me. You just kill me. Actually, I don't want to wake. And I read the book of Job, how Job cast the day and all that. I did all that. And then I told him, I know you have got power to change like the way you change Nebuchadnezzar to an animal. I don't care. Yani, I was so angry with God. Nikamwambia, let me wake up being, afadhali hata nijikute mi ni bird of the air, ama nikuwe frog, ama I don't want to live anymore. I was that bitter.
And now this, you're what, 11 years? Oh no, you're 14.
I'm 14,
4 years later. Yeah.
4 years later. I'm very angry. And then when I woke up, I was like, I didn't die. And then I'm like, I can't commit suicide. So I decided, let me go back to school. It doesn't matter how many years I've lived. Let me go back to school. And I told my mom, I want to go back to school. And then she's like, you can't. Remember, you left in class 5, first term. So will you go back? I was like, even if it's class 4, let me just go back to class 4. I don't mind. So she told me we need to look for a school that they can be able to manage me. Yeah, because you see now this is 4 years down the line. And then I told her, remember, I'm still this bright girl who used to be bright, so I'm good. Now, she said we are no longer going to live in that place we are living in Dandora. We are going to go to Ruai. Time has come for us to shift. And I was excited. So she told me, let us not look for school here in Dandora. We are shifting. So when we shifted, I was looking forward, not even to shift. Like we shift and then I get a school. In the process, I'm not going to church. But mom is feeling we need to look for another church where we can go. So she found another church. So she went the first time she went, me, I'm like, I told her, I don't want to go to hizi kanisa tena, the so-called church of, it is Mr. and Mrs. Ho. No, I'm not doing that anymore. So she'll come and tell me, there's this church, it's very nice, let's go. I'm like, no. We looked for a school. We tried to look for a school. It was impossible for me to go back to St. Michael's Primary School because you see now we are very far. In Rai, I was like, I don't want to go to Rai. I told her maybe I can go to my aunt's place, the sister to my mom, and then I can get a school there. So I went and we went with my grandmother to my aunt, and she was like, you want to go back to school? Do this. You can be coming to my place of work. She was a tailor. You train yourself I train you how to make clothes. And then in the afternoon, we get you a school where you can go special. You don't need to go back to school at your wear uniform and socks and all that. Because look at yourself, you're already grow sana. And then me, I was like, that is a good idea. Oh my goodness. So my grandmother was very excited. She left me there. So in the morning, we wake up, we go with her. She tells me, she showed me what we are supposed to do. She had like 8 machines, sewing machines. So see me, I waited the first day, the second day, the third day. Nothing is happening. I'm not being shown how to tailor. She's not talking about going back to school. I'm like, what's going on? So I asked her, and then she told me, I'm still looking for a tutor who can teach you and all that. 1 week. So what I'm doing, I'm the handiwork girl. So I go, now I've become another slave again. So I must make sure the tailors what they need, running errands, getting the materials. And then those days people used to go, kuna hiyo kwenda soko. You go to Turkana, You go outside Nairobi to other counties. So when she's going on Thursday, she leaves me. I have to manage the shop for her. So I became a manager. Sasa nikasahau shule tena. I am not nikijaribu kukalia mashini nishone, nobody is willing to train me. I'm like, kwani ya mafundi wamepatiwa warning. When she goes, I'm like, so nionyeshe mtu ushikaje material. Nobody was willing. So at the back of my mind, I started realizing, this auntie took advantage of me. So apa, there is no hope. So after 1 month, I went back home. She came and I told her I want to go home. I went home and I told Mom, your sister doesn't want to teach me this here. Then something is amiss. She told me, no, just be patient and blah, 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 blah. After going back after 2 weeks, I realized there's no this dream of mine of going back to school. These ones are not going to fulfill. So I told her I want to go home. I'll come back on a Monday. I left on a Wednesday. On a Thursday, my mom told me she's going to church. I was like, let me go to church instead of staying at home. So when you go see, it's the same, these churches, but now this one is a man's church. It's a man leading. The other one was a woman. So when mom talked, she told the man, there's some man, that this is my daughter, she wants to go back to school. The man was like, nice, it's okay. You don't have money, yeah. And then he was like, okay, let her come tomorrow. I'll give her money to buy uniforms and then decide which school you want to go, and then she can come tomorrow. So when we went at night, my mom told me, we can't go tomorrow because we still don't know which school we want to go. So let's first of all look for a school. And we went, we looked for a school. I was like, I can be going to Kalsa. Kalsa is in bus station. I'm like, the Kalsa is okay. I can be going to Kalsa and going back to Ruai. And then my mom was like, what about bus fare? So we were still looking for options. In the process, my mom told, when you're promised about money, you rather go. Yeah. So I didn't go the following day, Thursday, Friday. On Sunday, we went to church. That man preached. People got saved. The other side, they have gotten healed. I'm like, wow. Finally, there's someone who is doing something. Yeah, no, this one he's different because now this is a church. There's no, like the other one I told you, there's a kitchen, blah, blah, blah. This is a church. When you go, they preach and then you go home. So on Monday, I went back to the church. And he told me, he told me, I don't have money, come on Wednesday. So I went and told Mom, let us get the money. When we get the money, we can decide. We have so many options schools. There are so many that I can go. Wow. On Wednesday comes, I go to the church. So that was, I was to go back on Wednesday. On Wednesday, I was very excited because I'm like, wow, finally, I can see light at the end of the tunnel. I'm going to go back to school. At that time, I'm not even thinking that I'm 14, I'm heading 15. I'm like, I just want to go back to school because I'm no longer sick. I don't see, because my aunt will tell me, why don't you you remember she had said she'll teach me tailoring. I also met another cousin and she told me, no, you can do other courses. You don't need to go back to school. And then you can go ahead with your life. I'm out of Tekazi, there's so many things to do. But me, I'm like, no, I have to go back to school. So Wednesday, I go there. I stayed from 10. He told me he was seeing people. It was a Huduma day, where people had come to be told, to be prophesied, to be told their own why they have issues. Because there's that mentality that when you have issues, you have to go to this man of clothes so that they tell you what is eating you up. Now, he was finishing around 4. When I reached now, see, even me, I'm following the procedure. He told me, now it's already 4. We have to go back. We have to go to my home because I don't have enough money to give you here because I need to give you like 40K and here I only have 5K. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, it's 4. And then I told him, let me go home. I tell my mom, he told me, it's okay, you go. Then you come tomorrow. So I went home and I told Mom, he said he doesn't have money. It's like we are brainwashed. Why can't we ask ourselves, why is he insisting I go to his home? So Mom was like, why are you going? And then I'm like, the youth are going to his home tomorrow. So I'll accompany the youth and then we go. And I was like, it's okay because I still want to do this. So see, Thursday, God willing, came and we went with the youth. The youth were going there. I didn't know what they were going to do. I thought maybe they are going to sing or practice or whatever. Did I know where his home is? I didn't know. I thought his home within Nairobi. So we went. I saw, we have reached Thika. We are past Thika. There, Kenol. It's a place called Keno. From Keno, we went somewhere inside Duko, kwenye started Gina, for the sake. It was he had bought a land, so it was where he was building. He told us this is where he wants to build his homestead. So they had already started to they were doing farming. So it was his house, and it was not a small house. Let me not say it's that huge. So he told the youth, "You are here to help in harvesting." It was harvesting time. They had planted what do you call them? Mishirini tangwaje? Hizo
French beans.
Yeah, hizo. So, and then he said he wants to do different it's called horticulture. He wants to do the bel air, the green pepper and all that, the corianders and all that. So me, I'm like, okay, these ones are the ones who are doing it. It's not me. I'm telling myself that. So see, he said, people to muzoe. So he showed us his cows, akona ng'ombe, he had goats, he had sheep, he had chicken, he had all sorts of poultry, from the turkey to the goose to the ducks, all that. So see, we are going around, he's showing us. We went to where he's farming. There was a dam nearby. The people from that place, they know there's 2 dams there. Very huge dams. And he told us he wants to be getting the water from the dam. So he showed us. Me, I'm like, anatuonesha tu alafu kila mtu to sort, ajisort. Ama atasort kila mtu na kivyake. So 5 came, it's 5. And then he said, you people, you can't go back to Nairobi, you'll go tomorrow. These are teenagers. There's some age mates. So we are having fun. At the end of it all, me, I'm like, maybe everybody came with different issues. Mine is special. I felt mine is special. I just need school fees and go back to school. Wow, so see, when it was dinner time, the wife was there. Me, I assumed that is the wife because he told us that is the wife. But later on, I came to realize it was not the wife. So she said, she chose us when yotamsaidia kupika. And then we went, I was among the people who went to assist in cooking. We made polenta. Polenta is ugali and sukuma wiki and blah, blah. People ate. And then the lady showed us where the women are supposed to sleep. The men were shown where they're supposed to sleep. So in the around 3:30, he wakes us up. I'm Kenny. Yes, the early birds catches the one, blah, blah, blah. We are being, we are like, what's going on? I thought, he wants us to pray the 3 o'clock prayer. So we get out. It was very cold. And then he said, now, I'm starting this farming and all of you have to do it because that is why I brought you here. And then we started, to mama, we were not told. And then he's like, wewe ulikuja juu ya shida fulani, I will sort you out, lakini first of all, hebu tuendeni shamba, tunaenda leo ndio tunamwagilia sijui maji, tufanye hizo vitu. Oh my goodness. It was 3:30, remember? So we are supposed to leave at 4. Already, by the time we were getting out the homestead, jembe nini zimepangwa na his workers. Unajua alikuwa na workers wake. So we were taken to the farm at those wee odd hours. And that is how we started the journey again. Ya kukua another slave. Kuna wenye wanapanda, kuna zenye zinamwagiliwa maji, kuna kupalilia, sijui kuna kama ni tomatoes, kuna venye zinekangwa miti ndio na kamba, kufunga. Me, sijawahi lima, so I'm being shown what to do, so I'm following what the others are doing. Around 6:30 akasema fulani nyinyi tokeni endeni mwende nyumbani mwende mtengeneze breakfast. So I was among who left. We went at home and found the woman, and then I decided, because she didn't look that old. She was like, let's say 20, she was in her 20s. So I decided, let me ask her. And I told her, I was just coming because I need school fees to go back to school. I was not coming to do this. Do you know she laughed? Unajua ile kicheko ya madharau? Hiyo sarcastic laugh. And then she told me, join the club. And then I'm like, what do you mean join the club? And then she started telling me, you will know as time goes by, you will know. But trust you me, today you're not leaving this homestead, neither tomorrow, neither the day after tomorrow. And then I'm like, why? She told me, because this is what he does. She just told me, and then I told her, you are the wife. She told me, yeah. And then she was like, can I tell you something? I'm not the first wife. I'm the third one. And ajanitolea mahari, he's supposed to do so. I was was shocked. I was so shocked. I asked, not again, God, not again. Here I am. I don't have even a dime in my pocket. I'm in the middle of nowhere. This was not in my mind. So I'm like, how do I get myself out of this? Where do I even start? The shock was, I was so shocked. Then the lady told me, mi kwanza sioni nikikaa huku leo. So here I am, in the middle of nowhere again. It's the same thing about this men of cloth. And I'm like, sasa, what is all this? So we made breakfast. So when I decided tukipeleka chai, unajua tumepika chai ya watu wengi sana. So when we were making tea, tumepika na kuni, ndio hivi haraka nini. And then kulikuwa na hizo loaves, kuna wenye wanabebea ugali. Tukipeleka nikasema nikifika kwa shamba, nitamwambia kwani he's changed his mind, whatever he told my mom, kwani is it a lie or something? That is what I'm telling myself. So now I'm 15, remember? So tukapeleka chai. Kufika kwa shamba, mi simuoni. Naona workers peke yake. I'm like, hai, kwani yako wapi? They're like, ameenda kunaitwa kambi. Kambi ni penye sasa shopping center iko. Ameenda kambi sijui kununua vitu anakuja. So the people were excited, wakakunya chai nini. Kumaliza chai, supervisor akasema, haya mkeni, changamka mkeni. Tukaanza tena ile kazi. Tukaendelea na hiyo kazi, ikafika saa 6 hajakuja. Haya, ule supervisor akasema, wewe juu niliona unaenzana na jikoni, rudini mwende mkasaidie first lady kutengeneza lunch. Sasa roho yangu imeanguka, nasikia nimefika mwisho kwa sababu I'm not understanding what remember unafanya kazi na bado uko na hiyo confusion. Kurudi nikakuta the man came, alienda kambi akanunua sukuma, maunga, manini akaleta. Hakurudi kwa shamba na akaenda. So mimi nilipata hizo mamboga, nikauliza hizi mboga unajua ukinunua kwa kambi ni zenye zimetolewa kwa shamba. So the lady nikamuuliza, akaniambia haya, pastor amekuja na ameenda wapi? Amerudi Nairobi. Nikamwambia mimi nifanyie hivi, wewe nitafutie tu fare nirudi. Akaniambia nikisema nikupee fare ndapea wangapi? I can't give you alone. Everybody wants, kuna wenye pia wanataka kurudi leo na mimi pia sina pesa. Mimi hata penye niko aliniambia mimi niko na 50 bob. Hata nisiwezi kusaidia juu kwanza huko ni mbali sana kutoka penye tuko, kabla ufike uone hiyo barabara ya hata uone Keno na macho yako ni mbali sana, tuko huku ndani kabisa. So I'm like, sasa what is all this? And then I asked her, anarudi lini? Ati atarudi kesho. So she told me, do this, embrace this situation now, because even if you throw a tantrum, there's nothing you can do. And you know what I did? I went, kuna mali kulikuwa na tanki ya maji, nikasema, even if I cry, I'm not going to help myself. Let me stop. Wacha niacha na hii negative vibe, niweke positive vibe ndo niweze kuthink clearly. Let me tell you, that was the beginning of the end of my school, because I never left that homestead until another year. That is how I became a slave in another man of cloth. Because he didn't come the following day. He stayed, he didn't come for a week. The day he came, it was like after a week, he came and then he told me, already siku zimeenda sana and I was with your mom. Sikia venye aliniambia, I was with your mom na nimemwambia juu sina hiyo 40,000 uendele tu kukaa huku badala ukae Nairobi idle, na bado unafanya kazi na bado unafanyia Mungu kazi, tukitafuta pesa. Mi nikamwambia I need to go back to Nairobi. Akaniambia no, we already talked to your mom, we already talked to your aunt. Now you imagine a 15-year-old, how do you start arguing with a 40-year-old? You know? And then ameniambia mama alikuwa kanisa na waliongea na amenitajia my aunt. I remember I just said I'm not going to fight. Maybe this is fate. Akaniambia hata utakuwa unaenda kwa shamba, weka kwa boma usaidianange na first lady. So first lady, of course, I know you understand what they do. Si atakuachia boma wewe ndio utafanya kila kitu. Nikaanza kujikuta ni mimi naenda kuangalia ng'ombe zimekula nini, mbuzi, nafagilia ng'ombe, nafagilia mbuzi, nazifeed, hizo kuku wameweka nizifeed, niangalie wenye wametaga mayai, nitoe mayai. Yani That is how I started running errands. Kuku nijue zimetolewa, mayai unajua nilikuwa najua zile ndo zinataga, hizi wenye zimetaga uziseparate, unajua zifai kuishi pamoja, kuna venye hiyo sasa. And nikazoea sasa, mimi nikasema wacha nikae huku. If I wasn't meant, maybe sikuzaliwa nisome. That is what situations zinafanyanga mtu, you accept, at the back of my mind, ile dream nilikuwa nayo kurudi shule, it has ended. So I'm like, maybe I was meant to be a slave. So let me stay here. I won't even argue. I won't even fight. So after we stayed, after 2 weeks, now it's almost a month has gone. So the other month imeanza, he came and they had a huge fight with the wife. Na akamchapa for the first time kusasa kuona mimi mwanamke akichapwa ilikuwa hiyo. Akachapwa, she screamed, the men and the mature women went, wakamtoa, she was bleeding and all that. Remember those days hakukuwa hata na stima. So venye alikuwa amechapwa, akasema yeye ataenda. Akisema ataenda anachapwa zaidi. So this man became, I'm like, is this the man that I see preaching? Mi hata sioni vita. I would look at him, I'm like, huyu ni ule mwenye anahubiringi watu anaokoka, anaombea watu wanapona sijui magonjwa. Huyu ni mwenye sifa yake inasemanga ameshai hata blind people, deaf people. Me, that was what was running in my mind. I'm like, what is all this? Mi hata sioni huyu mwenye anapigwa. Akili yangu iko, kwani who are these men of God? So the lady kwenye alienda akajificha, kulikuwa na mbaka, walikuwa wameweka umbwa. So alienda huko nyuma kwa kennel na huko nyuma tu, na bado kulikuwa na nyumba ya taki. I went, remember we used to converse, because me, I'm very talkative. So I went and found her. And she told me, me in the morning, I'm leaving this place. I don't want to stay here. Remember I told you hata sijatolewa mahari. I'm done with this so-called love. And then I'm like, you are the third wife. What happened to the first wife? I can remember the first wife poisoned him. And then I'm like, and the second wife didn't poison him, but this man is brutal, infidelity, all those, name them. And then I'm like, and why are you here? And then she tells me, when I fell in love with this man of God, I didn't know what he had done. Says ndo nimeanza kulearn after going to church and listening to other women, they start telling me his history. And then he told me, but sasa, the sad thing is, I'm so far gone. I'm like, so far gone means what? Akambe, she's expectant. And then I'm like, anakuchapa ndio expectant. Does he know? Akozile, yeah. But to him, he has got so, hapo ndo nitobolea. Akambe, I think this man, aizi kosa watoto kama 15 mahali. I'm like, here we are, this is 1995, 96. What do you mean ati akona watoto 15? Who does this? So nikamwambia, you have a father and a mother, yeah. And why don't you go back? Akaniambia, that is what I want to do. Nikamwambia, when you're leaving, please don't leave me in this house. We'll go together. So, these things happen. Do you know, when we were speaking that way, the man came, grabbed the woman, akamvuruta, akampeleka kwa nyumba. The other people are just watching. Unajua kuna hiyo fear, this is the man of God. Na wengi wao unaona sisi wote hakuna mtu amezeka ati zaidi ya 25 kwenda huko, ni watu wadogo. So kuna venye wanajaribu kumuongelesha, anawakemea. And then remember he was standing and saying, I'm the man of God. I can curse you. What God has done together, don't put hizo. So the lady akafungiwa kwa nyumba. Sasa venye alifungiwa, asubuhi kufika, akaamka, the man akaamka. Akasema fanyeni, hatukulala vizuri, lakini alisema watu waende walale, hatukulala vizuri kwa sababu unaona ni kitu hizo fights za saa 5, saa 6, inaenda fika sasa saa 7, saa 8 utadoze off ndio. As usual, 4 akaamka, amkeni watu waende kwa shamba. Hii maneno nilifanyika imeisha, sijui nini na mtu asiniuliza maswali. So we were like, I think we were watu wanasemanga kuna kwanga na brainwash, I think so. Because we were like sheep. So sisi tukafuata venye tumeambiwa. Alafu venye tulienda, akabaki kwa boma na huu bibi. Sisi wote tukaenda kwa shamba. So tukiwa kwa shamba, kuna venye watu wana whisper, tutahepa aje, how do we run away, hivo. Then 6:30, tukaona atuitwi tuende tupike breakfast. Kwani what's going on? Sasa tukikuwa hapo tukiulizana, si tuliona vijana wanakuja, wamebeba hizo brika kubwa na mandazi zimebeba. Siku ilikuwa zile siku za paper bag zilikuwa zimebaniwa. So tunaona mapaper bag and we are like, wale si ni ile. Kuna kijana alisema wale wanakonga kwa kiosk pale kwa kambi. So tunaleta chai ya kutoka kwa kambi. Saa venye nilikuja na kambi ni mbali sana, watavuka mpaka wavuke reli. Wenye mnaishi huko hiyo area, nikishataja reli mnaelewa. So wakakuja wakasema tumepatiwa order, chai juu ya njaa, si mtakunywa chai. Poverty is so bad, na njaa pia si nzuri. We are like, who are we going to ask? The supervisor ule mwenye alikuwa anajifanya mkubwa wetu hata yeye ako confused, hata atuambii kitu, hata hataki kuulizwa.
This supervisor, was he from amongst your team ama you found him there?
We found him there, and then I learned he was the cousin of the pastor.
Wow.
Yeah, that is what we learned. Sasa tumejua ni cousin ya pastor. So si tukaendelea, tukamwaga maji, nyanya zenye ziko nini, zenye zinapigwa dawa nini, vitu kama hizo. Alafu saa 5 saa 6 hakuna mtu amekuja, nobody's telling us anything. Ikifika hiyo masaa, kazi ilikuwa inaisha, tunaambiwa sasa tupumzike, tukule lunch, alafu sasa tuende kwenye, si nimekwambia alikuwa amesema anaanza kupanda mahindi nini hivyo. So we were confused, do we go back home? Yani I think tulikuwa wajinga. I'm sorry to say. I think tulikuwa wajinga sababu mbona tuko tuna broaden our mind like the way saizi venye I'm looking back at the situation, I'm like, we had so many options. So what happens? We saw someone come, another person came, akasema mmeambiwa mrudi kwa boma. Nyinyi wote rudini. So all of us tukachukua zile vitu tulikuwa tunatumia. Maji tulikuwa tunachota kwa dam, na hiyo dam ilikuwa na hippopotamus huko. So yeah, tukabeba mitungi na maji kwa sababu kwa boma tulikuwa tunatumia maji ya mvua. Hiyo ya mvua ilikuwa tu ya kupika. Sasa ya dam lazima ulikuwa unaenda kwa shamba unarudi na hizo mtungi za maji mmebeba. Kurudi, the lady is not there, the pastor is not there. We only found someone there. Akatuambia pastor ameenda, amesema mjipange na atarudi jioni. Wenye wanaweza ingia jikoni waingie wapike, juu hamna choice. Sasa juu ya kuchoka, what do you want to do? So unataka upike, mkule, muoge, mgoje, what next? So tukajipanga. Mimi as usual, I'm always, I want to call myself a leader. Nikasema njaa wakiko nasema ngaragu deho ya gohoro. Njaa yezi, mtu mwenye akona njaa huwezi muuliza maswali. Si tukaingia jikoni tukaanza kupika, tukapika ugali na mboga, watu wakakula. Sasa tuko fiti, we don't know our fate. Watu wakasema tunafaa kuoga. Remember maji tulikuwa tunaendea wapi? Kwa damu. Sasa tulikuwa tunaendea kwa maji. Tulikuwa tunachota maji karibu mitungi 20. Unaenda ukirudi unabeba na mgongo. Sasa kuoga saa 10 saa 11 tuko zile za okay, ajarudi. We are here. At 5:36 mimi nikasemaje? Juu naona unga ile ya kusiaga siko kwa gunia. Acha tuhakishe kuni tupike ugali. Mboga itajileta. Alafu sasa vijana wenye walikuwa wakazi wakasema acha tuende kwa neighbor mwenye ako na mboga tuchukue mboga. We cooked. The man didn't come. Tuko peke yetu sasa kwa hiyo boma. Tunajipanga kivyetu hivyo. Sasa tunajipanga tu. The following day, asubuhi tukashindwa sasa what next? Remember sasa nilikuwa nimekwambia nilikuwa nimeanza kuangalia kuku na nini, lakini that day yenye alikuwa anafukuza bibi tulienda sisi sote shamba. So huyu kazini yake akasemaje, wewe akatupanga wenye watabaki kwa boma, wenye wataenda kwa shamba. We stayed a week kama hajakuja. Alikujanga on a Sunday evening.
So how are you eating now this time round?
This time the unga is there. Hakuwa ananunua kaunga 50 kg, ni ile unga, ile gunia kubwa ya 90. So mboga vijana wanaendea kwa neighbor, wanachukua mboga, wanamwambia akikuja, we don't need vitunguu, ni kwa shamba. So we are surviving with that ugali. We ate ugali. Mazosi tuko na ng'ombe hapo. We are surviving, lakini tuko kwa boma ya wenyewe. But now because we can see the cousin, we are like life is moving. So that Sunday kukuja usiku akasema hii sadaka ni mingi. Hebu kaini hapa tuhesabu, ilikuwa coins. Akasema wale watu walitoa coins. Tukaanza kuhesabu mabob, 10 bob hivyo. Sasa tukaanza kuhesabu. Sasa tunangojea hope. Sasa akasema, akapanga watu, akasema nyinyi mtakuwa mnafanya hivi na nyinyi mtakuwa mnafanya hivi na nyinyi mtakuwa mnafanya hivi. Mimi sasa nikaeka kwa hiyo department ya kukaa kwa boma. At that point, I've accepted. I'm like, if this is what fate wants, wacha tuone. Alafu akaniambia sasa nitakuwa nakulipa 500.
How many months in is this?
Now this is almost the 3rd month now. So the dream of going back to school is gone. So I decided, sema atakuwa ananilipa sini andikwe tu huku nikae kwa hii boma, ni save pesa. Still nitakuja kujipeleka shule. That is what I used to tell myself. Nitakuja kujipeleka shule. That is how I stayed in that homestead. after say unaona amekuja hiyo Sunday tumehesabu pesa, ametupanga, ametuambia, akagurumisha gari yake akaenda. So tuko sawa, lakini alikuja, kuna watu wenye alikuja nao bado relatives. Kuna mmoja sijui alikuwa ametoka, wamekosana na mzee amemleta. Sasa unajua tuwezi uliza bibi yake ako wapi. She was a lady. So the following day me I asked the lady what happened to the wife. Akaniambia huyu cousin yangu ameishi hivyo, hata huyu tulikuwa tunajua tu ataenda. So wamemzoea, to them wamemzoea. So I'm like, wewe ndio umeambiwa utakuwa unatulipa, sawa basi si utatulipa. And that is how another journey started of staying in Kennel. Yeah, I stayed. Come after around September, I felt no, enough is enough. I have to go back to Nairobi. Even if I want to become a house girl or wherever, let me do outside. Hii maisha kuendea maji kwa damu na nini, I let bidi. Sina pesa, mambo nimewekewa pesa. Anakujanga after akikuja ananiambia, mam, ulikuwa na mam, ameniambia nikusalimie na hivyo. That is what he will tell me. So he came akakuja na vitu za nyumba. Venye alikuja na vitu za nyumba zingine sasa, kanyumba kakaextendiwa, akaleta viti, sofa set, na siku zilikuwa siku za wall unit. So tukaona Monday hajaenda venye anaendanga, ako kwa boma hivyo. Tuesday hajaenda. You know, as a human being utajiuliza, Wednesday hajaenda. Haya, watu wakaanza kukuja, watu wa kuombewa. Alafu alikuwa na so many branches from Karatina, from Sagana, from wapi. Tukaona Wednesday sijui branch ya Karatina imekuja, wamama wamekuja, sijui whatever the meetings inaenda. Akasema sasa atakuwa anafanyia vitu zake zote, atakuwa anafanyia, amehama Nairobi. Atakuwa anafanyia vitu zake wapi? Kwa boma. Remember bibi hayuko. Sasa si watu wanakuja, they are on and off, wageni wako. Sasa kazi zikaanza kukua mingi, kwa sababu unaona every day akukosi sijui church fulani chamano huko wamekuja na nani na nani na nani hivyo. So jikoni kazi ilikuwa, yani hata siku anatoka jikoni. Nimerudi ile maisha ile ya jikoni, nimerudi back to that. Now at my age I started noticing that girl, when it reaches 9 she disappears and I don't know where she goes to. So me, I'm like, where anaendaga wapi? And then at around 3:30 I will hear her coming back where we were sleeping, because the carpet was the plastic one. So her footsteps, I will feel when she's coming back, because we had like 4 beds. Kuna dabudika mbili alafu kuna vitanda zingine. So I decided I need to know this girl where she goes. So that day I decided I'm not sleeping. So see, around after we sleep, everybody, we have prayed and then we have slept. Remember, the preaching is still going on. The singing is still going on. The choir is coming. They're training, blah, blah, blah. There were so many activities that were going on. It was always busy. So see, the girl, this time, she's not the one who left. I had someone leaving, and then I looked at her, I was like, see, I know where she sleeps. She's not the one. It's another one. This other one is the youth coordinator. So she left, and I'm like, I have to know where she has gone. So see, too bad, the doors those days, unajua venye ziko napiga kelele. So me, I tiptoed and I heard, I can hear where she's going. So I decided to follow her. That house was very huge. So she left our room. She went to the sitting room, opened the door. So I saw where she was heading. She was heading to, remember I told you when the man came, they extended his house. So I saw her entering and I'm like, why will she be going there? It's at night. What's going on? So me, I decided after 30 minutes, let me just go pretend I've gone to the toilet, because the toilets were latrine. We had the inner toilet, but you can't use the inner toilet for wherever. So the business you do outside. So when I went, I decided, no, I have to follow. I have to know what is going on. When I was tiptoeing, I bumped into the watchman. He was a Maasai from TZ. And then I asked him, we were very, as you live with people, learn to respect people. So me, I used to talk to him in a respectful way. That is his work. It doesn't matter whether he's a watchman or wherever. And then I asked him, no, what I did, whatever I did in sign language. And then he told me, he whispered and told me, shh, don't. And then he called me. And then he told me, oh, now listening. And then I'm like, there's something I've seen. What's going on? And then he told me, this is the time you're realizing. Tomorrow it's you. And then I'm like, what do you mean tomorrow it's me? He told me, aye. When you don't understand why Fulani went, now the wife. And then I'm like, where did she go? He told me, because she had already started to see what the man is doing. These youth, when you see them coming, the youth or the young mothers, he comes and then every night he gets one today. When you go today, you don't go tomorrow. And then I wanted to know more. And then I asked him, what do you mean? He told me, young girl, you mean you're not understanding? This girl, he sleeps with these people. And then he's told me, I'm surprised how comes he has not asked you all this. And then I'm like, what? So when I said what, I couldn't hold. So he had to hold my mouth and tell me, you want him to kill us? This one can kill us. You know me, I don't even have documents. Because me, I was like, he told me, I don't have documents. I came illegally, blah, 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 blah. So I don't want to be kicked out.
So wait a minute. So this is at night and you people are whispering
Yeah, but me, I couldn't, the shock of a man of
cloth.
Yeah. And then why do you want that man to get out and find me and kill me? And I don't have documents. Let me tell you, I was so shocked because I was like, I saw him beating the wife. Now I've heard what he's doing. So this is what he does. Wow, I couldn't. I had a very long night. A very long night. And then I had to go back, of course. So at 4, you'll hear the footsteps coming back. And I'm like, do the others know? So it's me who didn't know. This is something that has been going on. It's me who didn't know that this is something that has been going on. I'm the one who didn't know.
So the other youth actually knew.
The other youth and wherever they knew. Because in the morning, I would ask somebody, did you hear something? And then they're like what? I'm like, I don't know. I think there's a snake around. I don't want to say what I think. So I'm like, I think there's a snake around. I had like the hissing of a snake or something. We should check. And then they're like, as we slept, we didn't. I'm sure you didn't hear anything. So I remembered what the guy told me. This is something that goes on. And then he tells me, when you mix, I'm like, what mix? What are you saying? Anyway, so the following day, that day was very long. When I went, after I finished my taking care of the cows and wherever, when we went to the dam, I decided, no, I have to ask this girl. Liwe Liwalo. So I told her, Flani, I think I saw you going somewhere. And I would like you to tell me where you went and what's going on. She broke. She started crying. She told me, Pasi, that's the short name. Pasi has been bedding me. I'm like, what do you explain to me like a kid? And then, so she told me this is something that has been going on. She told me, actually, I was paged by him and he took me to the hospital and I did an abortion. Now I can't go back home. I have to stick here because he keeps on telling me he's going to marry me. And then she tells me, and then I'm like, then why are you crying? She told me, because I'm not the only one. He does that. Even you, we are just giving you time.
What?
And then I'm like, okay, I've been here more than 5 months, 6 months. And then she told me, because you see the way you run the homestead. She's the one who told me, the way you run the homestead, none of us is able to run the way you run the homestead. So he's doing his calculations, whether to lose you, because when you go to the farm, you do your perfect work. When you come back homestead, you run the homestead like you have been like you are a 50-year-old. Yani you unaelewa kabisa whatever is going on. But she told me, but at the end of it all, he'll still come to you because that is how he is. And I'm like, why can't you run away? And then she tells me, run away where? I had to sit down. I'm thinking we need to imagine, I'm supposed to fetch water like 10 to 20, mitungi 20. So this was a routine because that is the water we are using to give the cows and all that. Wow, the shock. I was like, no, do these things happen? Yani, are we in the world? We left the world or where are we? And she told me, please don't tell someone. And then she told me, unaona hivyo tumeongea, he will know. He sees.
He's a prophet.
He's a prophet. And then I was like, wacha nione kama atajua. And then she told me, trust me, whatever he uses or whoever he serves will tell him that we have spoken about him. So when we reached home, I fetched the water, It's people showered. That evening, they used to play that. They used to play that. He called a meeting and he said, there's some people who are going to go back to Nairobi. He's going to change the situation. There's some people who he thinks they can't go far. That is what he said. And there are people who are rebellious, blah, blah, blah. He said that. He called us. There's a way, there's a place he will call us and tell us all those, whatever he wants to say. Yeah, before we left, he said, Flani and Flani, Mbaki. So me, I was like, I'm not remembering the words he told me. The girl, I just said, you're planning, you want to ruin my life. That is what he's telling me. I'm like, what do you mean I want to ruin your life? He told me, uko na moshene, you gossip too much, you talk too much, and that is why even my wife left, because you are the one who used to tell her whatever I'm doing. And then I'm like, okay, I was shocked during the day. Now this is another shocker. First of all, there's this shock of there are some people who are going to go back to Nairobi because they are rebellious. They want to finish him spiritually, physically, blah, blah, blah. They want to finish his ministry. So he told me, you are among the people who want to finish my ministry. And I'm like, I don't even go to church. So how is it? By the time I asked that, the kind of war I was beaten, nilichapwa, naangushwa, yani I ran to, nikifika kwa ng'ombe, nilitandikwa vita yenye hata that was now my first time kujua kuchapwa na somebody outside
your family.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think even I had been beaten before, because remember I told you my story, I used to be a sickly kid. So me, apart from ile kawaida punishment ya kawaida, I was beaten. He was beating me. Unajua karate, mateke najikuta huko. And nobody can interfere in this fight. So I started bleeding. And I'm screaming and nobody's coming to help me. So I remember nilingia kwa zizi ya mbuzi. And he found me there. Ananichapa na nikanyagilia huko katikati hizo, whatever the business, the cows and wherever they have done, the poop. And now you can imagine how I was looking like. And then he said, in the morning, you are among the people who are going to go back to
Nairobi.
I didn't leave the place. When I stayed there, because hata nguvu ya kusimama sina. I've never been beaten. I'm feeling, nasikia macho ni kama sina macho, nasikia ni kama sina mdomo, niko kwa zizi ya mbuzi. This is a man of God. You're understanding, you're trying to understand the kind of life at that moment. Who am I and what am I? And I'm like, God would rather, this time round, I'm going to kill myself. There are so many ways to kill someone. And this time round, actually, I won't even go far. There's a dam there.
The kind of confusion happening in your life.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, there's a dam there. So the best thing, I'll just go ningie. I'm done with this life. I'm done. And then I'm remembering, every Sunday he tells me, talks to my mom. So my mom knows this. And my auntie knows it. So they sold me. To me, I'm like, so they sold me.
As a slave.
Yeah. What did they do to them for this to happen?
And if I might ask, remember when you were younger, there was this voice that used to talk to you. Now, what happened to your dreams, your visions, and the voice?
In this homestead, I never had any dream. Nothing. The voice was nowhere.
Did it stop when you decided to give up on God?
Yeah. Remember I told you when I decided I don't want anything to do with God. Even going to this church, I told my mom I don't want these churches, but I remember I went because at the end of it all, poverty. I keep on saying we will rather fight, work hard to finish the word. Hii jina poverty ni mbaya sana. Remember I had said I don't want to hear the voice, but now here I'm saying because I refuse to listen to you and because I said I don't want anything to do with you, that is why was I born? Are you there? And I would look, niko kwa zizi ya mbuzi, I'm like, God is not even there. People keep on saying he's there. Why will he let me go through this? What did I do wrong? And I'm trying to think at my age, have I ever wronged anyone? Who did I wrong? Now, as this should see, 3:30, he has to people have to wake up and go. So when they were waking up, that guy, his name, the supervisor, he came and told me, toka. So they told me, now you can't, kukaa hapa, ni wewe unajitesa. Nobody stayed in the zizi la mbuzi akanukiliwa na hiyo mbuzi, ni wewe. It is you.
So wait, you slept there?
I stayed there. I didn't leave after he beat me there. I never left there. And that is where I'm complaining and saying there's no God. And I'm planning I will go tomorrow, nijingize kwa hiyo dam, and that's it. I never left. See, he left me there. I was like, I can't even sleep in his house. Let me sleep here with these goats and sheep. Asubuhi niamke, I go and do my business. I'm done with the world. I'm so done with the world. Let it come to the end. So these guys, they come, the watchman, remember that watchman? He knew I was there. So he will come and just talk that language that I'm not understanding, because I'm crying, I'm weeping. Now I'm remembering at 10 how I became a slave. Here I am, I'm a slave. And all these people are men of
God.
Yeah. So when they came and told me, why you're the one who is suffering? That man is snoring. And people, what is wrong? Go shower. They assisted. I really appreciate boy child, because it's the boy child who are doing this. They go, they put water for me. They told me, nguo zako ziko wapi? They called one of the girls, go and bring clothes. One of them gave me a jacket and they told me, let's go. Staying here is not going to help you. We went to the farm. When we were farming, one of them said, I'm going to make sure we are going to make a plan of how we are going to run away from this man. Nobody has money here. Imagine he will make sure these people have no dime. Nobody has money. So they started planning. Ama sadaka ikikuja Sunday. Because we always see Sunday comes the money. We steal. And then we're like, how do we steal? So we are still trying. We are planning this. But remember, tunapanda, tunafanya. Only among us we are talking. I'm the girl child who is among these people who are speaking all this language of how we are going to run away from this homestead. Now, one lady came. As usual, I would say, remember, see, I'm the one who's always make breakfast. Sasa, see, I can't make breakfast. I had scratches. Yani, nilikuwa nimeumia huku kwa mikono, niko na hizo wherever. You can imagine how my hair was. And they shaved my hair using scissors, because nywele ilikuwa inakaa mbaya, hata nikwambia ninyoeni, I don't even need the hair anymore. Haya. Now, they won't call me to tell me that endo pike chai. So the tea was brought, ya kununuliwa ikaletwa, tukakunywa and tukamaliza kukunywa and all that. After tumemaliza kukunywa, I'm like, sasa, ama niende kwa hii kiosk niulize kazi. I'm like, sasa ndauliza kazi aje. So the boy child, when I was thinking that, we had wageni wamekuja. See, nilikwambia people used to come from different branches. So he will come and show them, this is how I'm farming. This is my evil. So when they were being shown, that lady, I was used to her. She was a chair lady of one of his branches. She saw I'm no longer that jovial lady who, and then of course, she knew something is wrong, because whenever they come at home, they always find me. So this time they didn't find me. They found me in the farm, and I'm not even looking at them. Me nimeinama doing my business. I remember, I think we were planting what we call beans. Iyo sasa with panga. So then they were shown this, we are farming this, let's go back. That was his routine. Alikuwa anaonyesha watu what he's doing. So when they were coming, the lady was left behind. And she told me, what's wrong? We used to talk, And I told her what happened. And then she told me, you want to get out of this place? Yeah? You can't get out when you're angry. And then I asked her, why? She told me, because these men, you see, they have got powers they use. And you people, and then I told her, if they have powers, what are you doing here? You with the power. And she told me, whatever the power he's using, me, I was barren, but I got a baby. So me, I can't leave his church. But if you want to leave, you can't live when you're angry. The day you want to live, be happy. Muonesha you have forgotten this story, whatever happened. Pretend, and then I will write you a note that your mom is very sick. Then you give him and tell him, don't give him today. Give him, it's a routine. The next group that is coming, don't mention the name. Just say someone gave you the letter saying your mom is sick. You need to go and see her, and then you're going to come back. And then I'm like, why can't I leave now? You can give me money and leave. And then she told me, if you leave, you're going to come back. Trust you me. So it's like she knows what happens. She told me, we have tried. People have tried. The moment you leave this church, you go, You go, you end up getting so many misfortunes until you find yourself doing what? Coming back. So she told me, even me, I'm pretending because I want to leave this church with my husband and my daughter. We want to leave this church, but we are pretending. We don't want him to know. And this man has a way of sensing. Like now, she was telling me, hivyo tumekuja, sunona ametuita. It's like he's sensing we want to leave. Wow. So she told me she's going to write the letter and then she's going to put it wherever she told me she's going to put the letter. You will find it there, a handwritten letter. Now, so we finish our business around 12. We were supposed to go home. Someone came and told me, you're being called to go back home. Me alone, yeah. So when I went, I was told the people who were supposed to cook, hawapiki haraka, wasaidie kupika. Remember nilipigwa jana usiku. So kuna venye hii macho, there's a way it is. So I'm like, let me just cook. And then people are like, it was discipline to them. It is discipline. It's a way of being disciplined. Even Jesus got angry when...
How hurt were you though?
I was damaged. I was damaged. I was really damaged. Ask me why I was still there. I can't answer you today. So, see that letter? I know it is there. And she told me, don't give it this time when I'm here. Don't show this man that you're angry. Pretend like nothing is happening so that you can be able to get from the jaws. Actually, she used the word, the jaw of the Lucifer. If you want to get from the jaws of the Lucifer, you don't get the way you want to get. Atina kifua na kiburi, pretend. Wow. So we cooked. And the norm went back to the norm. And now that day, after 2 days, the wife came. The first wife, the one that we were told poisoned, came, and then she came with some social workers. It was drama all over. The lady had decided to sue the man. So they came with the letters he was being summoned. The following, the third day, the second wife came with 2 sons. The man was being summoned. The following day, 8 women came.
What?
4 of them were pregnant. 4 had babies. And they are coming with social workers and blah, blah. I won't mention from where. And they're like, you're being summoned to court. How many? Ameitwa kotini. I think kesi zilikuwa zimeambatana. So you know what? So he's like, yeah. By the way, he was like, oh, this is a letter. I'm being summoned. Oh, okay, fine. He said he was not even the way you'll see that he's shocked. No, he's not shocked. He tells me, Shikai, endo nieke. Another letter. Endo nieke. So I will put where I was putting. At that time, I was the one who was, he will send me to put wherever his documents. Now, that wife is back. The first wife is causing drama and all that. And then they talked, and then I think she was given some money and told they will go to court. At 4, he came and told me, prepare 5 of my suits from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm being summoned. But you know what he told me? I'm just going to say 9 good hallelujahs, and these cases will go shwe. And then when he says that, the people who are there, they're like, amen, you know. So on Monday, the coming weeks, alikuwa anaitwa kotini. So he will go and he will say that when the judge was saying whatever, when he was being read wherever, this is what he was doing, and he will be told what to do. Cases zilikuwa zinaisha hivyo. So it became known in the church. It became known that women came with the kids, and when you look at the kids and you look at him, you're like, yeah, these are his children. So it became the normal. Hizo drama zikaendelea. So let's say around 1 month kuisha, that's when I decided now to tell him that I'm supposed to go to see my mom. I took a whole month. And he was like, you want to go? Oh, okay, fine. It's okay. You are going and then you're coming back to when? I told him, I'm going tomorrow very early. At 4, I'll be back. And then he was like, okay, fine. Let me give you fare. No. We are going to drop you at Keno stage. So see me, how much am I expecting? See, I'm expecting good money because I've been here almost many months.
And you're supposed to be paid.
Yes, I'm supposed to be paid. So I'm looking forward. I'm like, I'll go with money. When I was, the following day when I was dropped at Keno stage, I was given 500 shillings. And I'm like, where's the other money? And then he's like, why are you asking for the other money? I thought you said you're coming at 4. And then I remember the words of the woman, don't let him know that you're going? And then I'm like, how will I go and see mama and she's sick without money? And then he's like, so you said you're going, just go and see how she is, and then you come, and then we'll see the way forward. I can even offer myself to go and take him to take her to the hospital. I was like, okay, Liz, you are in kennel stage. Just enter any matatu that is reaching Thika or Nairobi. So I entered the matatu, and then I reached, I'm like, kufika all stops, let me shuka all stops. And I'm looking at myself, I'm like, I'm seeing the sun in a different way. I'm seeing people in a different way. Because you remember, I have been there doing the norm, waking up those wee odd hours, doing the routine. So I reached home. When I reached home, I cried. When I saw the gate of my home, I sat at the gate and I cried. And my little brother came and asked me, are you sick? I didn't even enter the house first. I was crying outside, wailing, not crying ile pole pole. And then even the neighbors are like, what happened to Njeri? What's going on? Why are you crying? So when I went and told Mom, why do you hate me? And I asked my grandmother, am I her daughter? Those were the first words I asked. Am I her daughter? Did you guys adopt me? That is what I was asking. Did you adopt me? Because if you adopted me, then I will understand why all this. Are you sure you carried me 9 months? Why do you hate me? Because if you really love me, why will you allow all this to go on? And then she's looking at me and like, what are you talking about? And then so I started telling, my grandmother started praying. I remember I told you she never used to go to church. But that moment she said, oh, I'm very grateful to the God of slopes of Mount Kenya. They have brought you back. I've been wondering where my name went, blah, blah, blah. She's talking that way because she doesn't know how to pray. And she's like, I've been asking about you. I've been asking until so she was very grateful. So I'm crying and wailing and nobody's giving me answer. My mom's not answering. She's not telling me anything. So for very long time before I had a very good sleep. I showered, I slept. I remember I woke up the following day around 1 and I'm asking my brother, why are you eating food instead of breakfast? And then he's like, it's not breakfast, it's lunch. Yani I slept many hours because, I've not been sleeping and all that. Now I started thinking, if I was born in this homestead, it is me. It doesn't matter whether I was born in this homestead. It is me and the one who brought me in this world. And I will not kill myself. I will prove them wrong. That is what I said. I remember I said, I'm going to prove to the world wrong. I'm not going to kill myself. I will not even take Piriton so that I sleep. I'm going to prove to the world wrong. I'm going to prove to my family wrong. And I embraced life. I thank God. And I started now getting back. I told God, I'm sorry for complaining and murmuring and all that. Maybe I was created to undergo whatever I've undergone. Now see here, remember, I'm still growing. So I decided the best thing for me to do is to look for a job. This job, I'll still go back to school. My vision, I still have to go back to school. So what do? I called a neighbor and I asked, well, how do I go about it? She told me you can be a house girl. But as a house help, you want to be given permission to go to school. So I'm thinking, which hotel will I go and which school will I go? I'm thinking. And then I'm like, let me, and then I'm like, from tomorrow, what I will do, I will look for a job a hotel, and then that hotel, I'll see the day that I'm off, I can learn. I have to learn, I have to do my exam. I have to say nimeshaiketia exam. 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, I haven't done anything yet. And then I remember the lady telling me, I'm a volunteer at a children's home. Do you mind, instead of staying at home, come and see what we do? I go to many children's homes. And then I'm like, okay, fine. So I asked her, today, which one are we going? She told me, let us first of all go to Mama Fatuma Children's Home in Isli. And I'm like, okay, fine. You're paying my fare. Yeah, we went.
So if I may just ask you, would you want to maybe talk about maybe some of the odd things you witnessed when you're staying at near Kennel? Any other things that you saw that were completely out of the ordinary?
Yeah, because The neighbors, I keep on wondering, the neighbors, okay, it's homesteads, but these neighbors, were they brainwashed or something? Because, but neighbors, let me not judge them, because there's a time I think when these neighbors couldn't come and call, like now the way we have nyumba kumi nowadays. I think those days there were no nyumba kumi, sorry. I later learned this man was using girls. I will say today, if whichever church you go to, if the man or the pastor or whoever start asking you or telling you that bring your children so that they can be prayed for, don't. Because now is when I understand this man will take advantage of, the poverty. He will also take advantage of saying this thing that we know that whenever you have a problem, kuna hiyo mentality we have that spiritually something is wrong. So even if you lose a job today, spiritually mtu amekuroga, sijui the witches of the village, sijui blah 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 blah. So at that time when I was there, so that the reason why after being beaten, that is when I could see how comes this man, why does he wake us up at 3? That is the first thing, 3:30. At first, I would think it's because it's the prayer time. I remember I told you they were playing that. He had made sure there were cards and poker and the darts. He had a way of, after we go to, when people go to the farm, he will say he's praying and he will zunguka the shamba.
The shamba.
Yeah, the whole of it. The homestead, the shamba where we have gone, he won't reach where we are or where the people have gone. So me, because I'm among the people who maybe are left, when I'm left, I will see he will zunguka the boma like 7 times. And then there's this sprinkling of salt, using salt. Sometimes he will put water in a basin and do whatever he does, because according to us, we thought he's asking it's the blood of Jesus through that water. And kumbe that time is when, that is the time he will talk to one of the girls he knows he has impregnated. That is the time I learned he could sleep with 3 women a day, during the day. 3 women during the day. I'm not counting the night. And now the forces he was using, let me call them forces, because a normal person, I don't think you can sleep with a woman from morning to, you just meet a woman, even if, did I tell you that there's a time I found him in a store?
No, you've not mentioned that, so you
Okay.
can talk about that.
Okay. Now when I started to see him, now when I started to see his full characters, when now I learned that this is what he does with these women and the people he calls. He was choosing the people with gifts in the church, the youth coordinator, the leader, the chair lady. And when they come to his homestead, and then he will say, munapikiwa kuku or wherever, he will call the leader. And then to say, let's go for a walk. He will have wherever sex with the woman, whether it is in the middle of the garden, whether it is in the store where we put the wherever, jembes and pangas and everything. This sexuality urge, I later now know it wasn't him. It's because of the forces he was using. He had already sold his soul, and maybe he was given, I understand you are given conditions. When you're given these powers, they are given conditions that this and this will be doing this and this. So he could not quench his thirst in sexual activity. And that is why, you understand, that is why he left Nairobi, came to the homestead so that he can be able to do this. Because in Nairobi he couldn't, but here in the homestead he could do these things. The wife, I didn't tell you. There was a time the wife told me the reason why she left, it's because she knew that they could sleep. They could have sex with her. Then the man leaves, and then after 1 hour, 2 hours, the man is nowhere. He can't see the man. He doesn't know what is. Ametoka tu akaenda. So kumbe he has gone to another person and does the business. He later on became exposed. And when I give this story, I'm sure somebody somewhere will understand who it is. He became exposed. So many sex scandals, abortions. So many girls took him, reported him, because there were so many girls who had done abortion. Now, the saddest part was that when you do abortion, this clinic, the owner of the clinic was the friend. So this one I learned after I left. This one I learned 1999. When I'm 19, that is when I learned. I met someone and she told me what used to happen. The reason why he will have sex with all these girls and then they get pregnant, and he takes you himself. He takes you to this clinic somewhere. They were friends with the clinic person. So kumbe this what do I call them?
The
This
fetus.
Yes, he will go and collect them and take them back to the shamba. Yeah. So when he takes them to apparently in their kingdom, the so-called kingdom, they have there's some powers that you get when you do these sacrifices. That is why he had to have so many girls and he make sure all of them you get pregnant. He tells you, "Oh, you're pregnant. Let me take you." And he takes care of you for 1 week. After it is done, and then he takes another one. That is what he was doing. So later on, the story came out. I know people somewhere they will understand who is this. And he tried. He used his way. Money has the way. And the stories, the girls tried to take him to court, but nothing happened. So I met some ladies who underwent a lot. One of them went to Saudi Arabia. The one who went to Saudi Arabia is the one who confessed and told me all this because she was kind of mature. So she's the one who followed the story and she knew what this guy does. Anyway, I thank God where I left. And now I told you, we go back to when I decided I want to go to become a volunteer. Yes. So when I went to become a volunteer, I was very excited because I'm like, at least I'm not staying at home.
Thanks for listening to the Stories from Africa podcast Breaking Jemima series. Let's catch up in episode 5 where we talk about Jemima getting married. Keep listening.